Hello and welcome to Newsday Tuesday with Nudge Security, where we'll look at a few of the new great things we've added to the product recently. I'm Julia Casilius, the Principal Product Marketing Manager at Nudge Security, and I'm here today excited to show you 3 recent features that you may have missed. Today, we're going to look first at a new progress dashboard that can help you track progress against key SaaS security benchmarks. Another thing we're going to look through is improvements to our SaaS events records, so that can help you investigate SaaS activities, and then improvements to our onboarding nudges, and that can make it much easier to collect important information about new SaaS applications that your employees are signing up for. So with that, let's jump into the product. Okay, so first, let's talk about this dashboard. Right here, you're seeing the main dashboard of Nudge Security. One of the most common reasons people seek out Nudge Security is to get visibility of who is using what SaaS applications in their organizations before they can even start with the other goals that they have for SaaS governance and security. Great news is that we can make that first part happen really quickly on day 1 of your trial. But then once you have that visibility, it's suddenly possible to start maturing your SaaS security program and start to implement SaaS security best practices. That's where Nudge really starts to help you make magic happen. So we wanted to make it as easy as possible for you to not just make progress towards your goals, but track your progress towards those goals and communicate how you're doing in regards to those goals to your stakeholders internally, and also to be able to look at the impact you're making and prioritize the highest impact work. So with that in mind, we created this new progress dashboard to help you measure key metrics that form the backbone of SaaS security governance. And so let's just kind of go one by one and look at the different pieces of this, because it's interesting to think about, or it's helpful to know why we've included these, and also what Nudge can help you do to make progress, right? So looking at this first one here, 18% of apps are approved or acceptable. So that's 77 out of 413 apps. You can view this to see your progress over time. You can adjust the time period up here. You can see just the last 7 days, there's been no change. And here you can also toggle to see statuses in, the numbers by status, and even click into them, right, to see all of your approved apps, et cetera, by category. So what's important here, tracking statuses can help you understand the overall state of your organization's SaaS governance program. Those statuses provide a really clear indication of whether your employees are using secure, vetted options, or if you need to intervene, and Nudge offers some different ways to help you do that. So what you should know here, Nudge does offer you some different ways to help you update and maintain those statuses, and then also the types of interventions that can nudge employees towards approved apps. So very quickly, I'm just going to show you, we have apps here with no approval status. You can click in, you can bulk edit, right? Maybe you want to filter just by AI tools, right? And mark all of those at once as, maybe you want to put all of those in review, or so that your team can process them, or just mark them all as acceptable or not permitted, whatever you like. And that will update live in the dashboard. If you're not sure, you can also go in and actually investigate. So we can take a look here under security details. You have some quick links, you have some supply chain information. So all stuff that can help you as new apps are onboarded to help you make important determinations about that. And in addition, in terms of acting on that information, there are a lot of ways you can set up notifications. In rules here, I'm just going to show you the giant menu we have of recipes, just as a couple of examples of some of the ways that you can start nudging your employees towards approved choices, along with enabling our app directory. So lots and lots of options to help with moving the needle on this metric. Next, we have the number of apps that have a confirmed technical contact. So this dashboard really helps with addressing a sticky area that comes with the distributed nature of SaaS adoption today. Basically, anyone at your organization with an email address can sign up for new SaaS apps and invite their colleagues. And, that's all well and great for productivity, but when the time comes to offboard someone who's leaving the organization, or to clean up access, for accounts that your organization might be paying for that aren't needed anymore, IT and security aren't always the ones with the administrative access to be able to make those kinds of changes, but you are on the line for the security of those apps, for access management, etc. So Nudge tackles that issue by assigning a technical contact to each application in your environment. And that can help you manage app administration at scale. So by default, and let's just take a look here. By default, Nudge assigns a technical contact to each app in your organization. Here we have unconfirmed 370, but they do have technical contacts assigned. We typically assign the first user of an app because they do have administrative privileges in most cases, or they know who does. But then we also give you a couple of ways to confirm that. So you can confirm those manually by going into any app overview and making the change, or in bulk, the same way a second ago we made bulk changes. But since you won't always know who the right person is, we've also created an app to help, or a nudge to help you out with that. So I'm actually going to click in here just to see, pick on replicate again. Here you can say, identify the technical contact. You can write a little note up here if you would like, and you can send that. And that individual will receive a nudge asking them to either confirm, yes, that's me, or bounce it to another individual at your organization. And so the point of this, in short, is that tracking whether you have confirmed technical contacts for each application means tracking your ability to delegate admin tasks at scale to the users best equipped to handle them. So it's a really powerful lever for your SaaS governance program, and that's why it's tracked here as one of these key metrics. The next one is pretty straightforward, right? I mean, no one wants orphaned accounts or orphaned data out there. And so this shows you abandoned or inactive SaaS accounts so that you can clean up those unused accounts and minimize both risks and costs. You don't want orphan data floating around, just like you don't want to waste money on unused licenses. Once again, we can toggle the view here. Nudge populates this widget in a couple of different ways. One is this inactive status here is populated automatically for SSO-enabled accounts where we haven't seen logins within the last 90 days. So for any SSO-enabled account, we will mark some type of status here, whether that's active, inactive, etc., based on the activity we've seen in the last 90 days automatically. For apps outside of SSO, so things where your users are signing in with username and password, for example, we offer a different mechanism where you can nudge folks from particular apps. Let's go into some with no account. These are accounts with no app status set. So we can see you could send a nudge to this individual user asking them questions, but you can also go in and say, request app update, are you still using this app? And so all users of OpenAI will receive a nudge asking if they're still using it, so that you can which accounts you can clean up. That will automatically populate these statuses right here. You can also change those manually. And then once you have some that are inactive, you can actually nudge that, and it's of course gray here because we don't have any abandoned accounts. So let's change that manually so that this is easier to show you here. Now you can see it's possible to request removal of abandoned accounts. This person will receive an attachment with a CSV of all of the accounts that need to be cleaned up, and they can inform you once they have taken that action. Okay, so it's to make it even easier to move the needle on that particular metric, we also have a playbook that you can run. So lots and lots of ways to clean up unused apps to reduce costs and risks. I know this is a lot of information about each of these, but each of these metrics represents SaaS best practices that we think are really important. And so you can really track the progress that your organization is making. And so the next one, for example, we have a view that helps you catch lingering SaaS access associated with inactive users. So if you've turned off someone's Google or Microsoft access and the user still has lingering SaaS accounts, those accounts could be used for unauthorized access. Nudge, you just maybe saw in the last view, we'll go back to it. Under things to do, we have a playbook to help you offboard employees completely. And if you don't use that option, or if for any other reason, you're coming into this fresh and you haven't had a chance to offboard people through Nudge, you can see what's left to offboard here and take action. So in this case, it's a lot of abandoned accounts. So in that case, it's easy to reach out to the technical contacts for those accounts and request that they clean them up, because it's straightforward to ask them to take action and have them mark that they have done so this gets refreshed automatically. Next, SSO onboarding. Our SSO onboarding is fundamental. SSO is a foundational aspect of SaaS access management, but it can be really difficult to know how much progress your organization has made if you don't even know how many SaaS applications are out there in your organization, which no SSO provider can tell you. It's usually a surprise to people. And then of those, which ones are actually supported? Which ones of those actually support SSO? Because there's a really big difference, right, between 1% of your total apps are onboarded and 1% of apps that support SSO are onboarded to SSO. So this can really help you catch. Obviously this is a demo environment, so we have a lot that are not onboarded to SSO, but you can drill in here, see a little bit more detail. And again, we have a playbook for this, both for Okta and for Azure AD. Here in the beginning, so you identify your technical contact. We've talked about that. That's the person managing SSO onboarding. And then you can, for Okta, you can filter by just those that support SAML, just those that support SCIM. You can filter by category to help you really prioritize the work that you're doing. So last widget on here, and here, thankfully, we have 0 risky OAuth integrations. You probably know from using Nudge that we offer a lot of functionality around identifying OAuth integrations that may pose risk to your organization and helping you investigate risky OAuth integrations or any OAuth integrations. So you won't see anything here since we don't have any, but it's very easy to go in and take action on these. As you can see here, let's just filter by Google Workspace, and you can see automatically these options pop up. You can just bulk revoke all of these, or you can send a nudge asking, hey, are you still using this? And then at that point, if they say no, it will be revoked automatically. So lots of functionality to support this, but the top line metric to track your progress with is how many of those risky OAuth integrations exist. Are you keeping an eye on them, and how much progress have you made with that over time? And then finally, you can print this. And the print report looks really good. I am not sure how clearly I can share it right here, so bear with me, but if you have your own instance or your own trial account, you can go in and give that a try. And this will continue getting better over time as we continue to populate more data, the longer you are a Nudge customer. So the next thing I wanted to talk to you about, moving on from the progress dashboard, let's move over to the app screen. Let's dig into a specific app. I want to pick on, let's just go with Workday. So here you can see each application within Nudge has its own events page. Each account also has its own events page. We have made improvements to this. This page shows you things like, in this case, account creation, when different users created their accounts. Within the accounts view, you can see things like when a user resets their password or disables MFA. We can look at that in a moment. We've made these pages better in a couple of ways. One, the UI looks nicer. Two, we've made it much easier to search and filter here. You can look at account creation within a specific date range, for example. You can look at events related to a specific user just right here without going to the events page. All kinds of different types of events that you can look for, password resets, MFA enabled or disabled reset, etc. So lots of new functionality to help you investigate events and really understand what's going on with that activity. And then we've also added more context. You can see resources under here. We previously had resource information available in the product. Now it's associated more clearly with those events to make it a little bit more actionable for you. And again, searchable, usable. And then finally, the last thing I want to show you is the way that we've improved app onboarding. So this is one that I'm actually really excited about. It seems like a small change, but it's one that can be pretty impactful. Whenever your employees, actually, let's go to the dashboard and look at new apps added in the last month, right? So let's say you don't recognize Mighty Networks. I don't know what that is, right? So you get an alert that there's been a new app if you have that enabled, or you just log into your dashboard and you see it. Or you can set up this nudge I'm about to show you to go out automatically, which is pretty cool. So you know, okay, this is to create or grow a website, but why is this person using it? What kind of data are they going to use? You can send a nudge requesting clarification of use, and that will ask them, can you tell me more about how this is being used? So you can find out this way if something's just a personal app. Maybe then you follow up with a nudge saying, hey, delete that. If it's fully adopted, that's important. You really don't want to start turning off access if it's been adopted in some major way, or you might want to, investigate a little bit differently if it's fully adopted or under evaluation versus if someone says it's just an experiment. So different ways you might want to react. And of course, you can add your custom text. So I'm going to show you in a different tab. This is what your employee will receive. So again, maybe you can send nudges to your employees through either email or Slack. So here's an example of a notification through Slack. And then as the user, all you have to do is click on one of these. Immediately that answer is recorded within Nudge security, even if they don't click a follow-up button. So let's just see. So this person clicks under evaluation, and then there's the chance to say, hey, what kind of data will this be handling? So one additional click, and they can tell you, hey, this is going to have customer data in it. Amazing, right? Because how else would you find that out other than by guessing? And an app like Mighty Networks may or may not be on your radar for additional review, or you might have concerns, do I need to spend time reviewing this? And if they, write in the notes, they're just testing this for something unrelated, maybe you'll handle it differently than they're testing this for transcribing customer support calls, where you might want to pay a little bit more attention. And then they can just save the results, and bam, it will show up in within Nudge. You'll be able to see it. Obviously, this is not one that I have just sent, but you would be able to see it under Nudge history. And down here, you can also see, again, demo environment, we have a lot of unanswered nudges because it's not hooked up to the same things as our corporate instance. But a rule nudged Gerald forward about request clarification of use, right? You can go back to that rule section that I mentioned earlier, and you can say anytime a new app is created, so anytime an app is new to your organization, you can nudge the user saying any one of these things, but you can start with clarification of use and capture information. That those answers are actually stored in a way that allows you to filter. So I think I skipped right past it. Data type right here. So we can look at apps with corporate data, customer data, employee data, right? And so you can flag those for, out of all 414 apps, these are the ones that are important to pay attention to for compliance purposes, et cetera, right? So that it can be a helpful way of making sure you're not missing those, collecting additional information that you wouldn't be able to get without going straight to your users. And that is everything that I have to show you for today. I hope you got something out of this. Thank you so much for that. But I have seen a few questions come in, so let's turn over to answering audience questions. Bear with me. Bear with me, sorry, for one sec as I'm switching screens. So the first question we have is how do we get access to these new features? The answer is that they're already live in the product. So if you are already a Nudge Security employee or customer rather, you can access those today. And if you would like to try them and you're not already a customer or trial user, just spin up a trial. It's all fully available. Including, there was also a question about the app, the progress dashboard. All you have to do is go to your main dashboard and then look for the tabs at the top, and you'll be able to see it right next to our AI dashboard. Let's see. Some folks couldn't see the print report, the option to print the progress dashboard when I threw that up. So let's take a look at what that looks like. My colleague Vince behind the scenes, huge thank you. He threw that into this slide deck while I was talking. So this is what that looks like when you pull up the save as PDF option. Just press the print button and this is what pops up. And this is then what the PDF looks like as a result. And then here's another example of a chart. So it'll show whichever versions of the chart you have selected on the screen at that time. Next question is, I mentioned an app directory. What is that? That's something I'm actually really excited about. It's something that came out at the end of last year. We have made it so that when you do set apps as approved or acceptable or under review, whichever options you choose, you can auto-populate an app directory for your employees based on that information. So if you're using Nudge Security already, you may already have those app statuses set up to track your progress. It's just you go into your organization settings and it's very fast to just deploy that and then invite your users. And then they will see a much lighter version of Nudge Security. They'll see an overview of their own applications, and then they'll be able to see a clean version of your apps section with directory entries for the apps you've enabled as approved or acceptable or whatever you've chosen to include, and an option to request access. And that nudges the technical owner of each app to request access to the app, really streamlining that whole process. So yet another reason to clean up those approval statuses to make sure that your app directory is up to date. Next question I see here is, how does nudging work? I know that's It's an interesting question. I did touch on nudging a lot during the presentation of new capabilities. Those of you who already know and love Nudge, who are already customers, bear with me. Those who are new to Nudge, for every application in your environment, every account in your environment, every OAuth grant, we provide a way for you to essentially manage app and account admin at scale. So we provide a bunch of nudge templates that essentially enable you to message your users directly, either through a Slack message if you set up our Slack integration, or through email. And you can send a nudge directly to where your employees are working already, so you're not interrupting your own workflow or theirs, and they can respond really quickly in just a click. So I know I gave a couple examples of that in the presentation, but just for example, let's take app onboarding, right? That goes directly to whoever had signed up for that app, and they're able to click those answers really quickly. Or you could set up rules to, let's say, prompt someone to enable MFA anytime they sign up for a DevOps account. Or, if you're looking to get people to stop using unapproved apps, move toward approved apps, you could say, if anyone signs up for a file sharing app, a new file sharing app, remind them that we use Box or Dropbox or whatever your approved option is, and send them a nudge saying, hey, please switch or submit justification. So that can be a really helpful tool. I think, I think that is all the questions that we have time for today. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time. I really appreciate it. If you do have more questions that I didn't have a chance to answer, please do reach out. We will continue to, follow up with you if you had additional questions. Also, if you're not already a Nudge Security customer or user, please try our demo, or sign up for a demo or sign up for our trial. It's so fast to get started. And if you are happy during the 2 weeks, great. If you're not, you can easily spin it back down at the end. So blow all your data away. So it's a really low risk commitment. Thanks so much again. Have a great one.